with Christiana. We peel back the layers that are clouding your ability to see and show you ways you can reclaim your life and your communication. It's not what you know, it's what you implement that makes all the difference. Welcome to Clarity Corner with Christiana. So great to have you here today. We are so excited. This show is going to be super fun and exciting and all about how to master communication. Now, did you know that you can use communication to double your business or more? Today's show, I have a very special guest that's going to be joining us who is going to show you exactly how to do that. It's very, very exciting. So let me ask you, are your personal relationships thriving, or do you miscommunicate or run into misunderstandings? If you're like most of us, we all have a way of communicating, but sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And if that's your experience, what we're going to go over in today's show, you're absolutely going to want to pay attention. But before we get started, you can follow on www.tantalk1340.com, tantalk1340.com. You can call in if you have any questions at 727-441-3000. Again, that's 727-441-3000. And I think, you can follow me on Facebook. Sorry. You can follow me on Facebook.com at facebook.com/The Clarity Strategist, The Clarity Strategist. All right, you guys. So let's dive in. So the biggest problem today that we have is the illusion of communication. When we're talking, we expect people to understand. We expect people to understand what we're saying. However, what if you know that there's actually 4 different languages that you can speak in whatever language you're speaking that will actually determine what you value. It'll determine how you listen and whether or not you're heard or understood. So what's beautiful is we have a very simple way, takes 90 seconds or less, that you can actually find out how somebody, what they value, how they listen, how they make decisions. And that's what we're going to talk about today in more detail. But you may say, oh my gosh, what is this? Well, before we get started, this is not new. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. This is not new. This dates back thousands of years to Hippocrates. And Hippocrates was known as the father of medicine. And what he realized is that you could take the entire human race and you could break the entire human race down into 4 distinct groups. So much so that each of these groups would be treated differently medically. Now, fast forward to today, it's really common that people have taken personality assessments. So have you ever taken a personality assessment? It's a good question. Well, if you've taken a personality assessment, who is that geared to understanding? Is it geared to understanding yourself or the other person? Generally, it's yourself. And most of those are based in what we call psychology. So, well, not what we call psychology, it's based in psychology. But what the personality system that I'm going to share with you today is based in something what we call biology, the science of buying behavior. So what's really important is in any conversation, the most important person is not yourself. The most important person is the person that you're talking to. And, I don't know if you've ever heard this before, but there's the golden rule, right? You've heard that. Do unto others as you would like, to be done unto. What about the platinum rule? I heard this and I said, oh my God, this just cracks the code and makes so much sense. The platinum rule is do unto others as they would like to be done unto. So don't enforce your viewpoints on every person that you have. And what I find in my experience is that if somebody doesn't understand me, there must be something wrong with them, right? I don't know. Have you ever had that experience, Bobby?
Yes.
Right? You're like, what's wrong with you? I said it clearly.
Right. Oh, many times.
Exactly. So what happens is the biggest mistake that we make is we speak from what we call our dominant personality code. So whatever our primary or dominant personality code is generally how we lead every conversation. And I don't know if you've noticed, but there's some people that you click and it's so effortless when you communicate with them. And then there's other people, no matter how hard you try, there's always some friction or miscommunication. Have you had that experience, Bobby?
Oh yeah, I'm got some examples popping up in my head.
Exactly. You, like all the other listeners. So if you're driving, what I want you to do, don't write anything down while you're driving. I want you to focus on driving. But if you're not driving, grab a pen and paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you, one, the biggest mistake, and two, I'm going to share with you a little bit about each of the 4 personality types, just so you can, and then I'm going to have you pick out a person that you can identify in your world that is maybe an example of that. So that way you can make it real to yourself. Because, information's information unless you can actually bring it into your own world. And I have no desire just to dump more information on you. I really want you to get a result. So the biggest mistake is we all speak from our primary personality code. Well, there's 4 personality types. So the primary code, let's say, is I'm just going to say red. Red in this system is called action. Well, if I'm speaking that, let's say red is English and I speak English and we're connecting, we're probably going to go pretty good because we speak the same language. But what if that person is, let's say, I don't know, blue, and that blue is Spanish, and I'm speaking English to someone and they only speak Spanish? Well, they may like my energy. They may think I'm dressed pretty cool, but they have no idea what I'm saying. So if you're speaking to someone and they just they can hear you, but they can't understand you, it's not going to go very well. The same thing, that's exactly what it's like when we speak out of our dominant code and somebody else listens differently than we do. So the next one is, let's say, I don't know, let's say yellow, right? Yellow would stand for, I don't know, French. And so you're sitting there and you're saying, okay, here's my primary code is red, but I'm speaking to someone who speaks yellow, who's French. Well, here's the crazy thing. They may know and like you and you have a good vibe, but they don't understand what you're saying. So there's ultimately that disconnect. They may be nodding and agreeing and it's all great, but you're going to miss that actual connection and that actual communication. I always say, the illusion of communication is that it's happened. Just because you use words doesn't mean that they actually landed. And that's what this is about. And the same thing. So there are 3 out of 4 times you can get it wrong. So think about it. 75% of the time, you could get it wrong. And I don't know if you ever heard this saying that sales is a numbers game. Have you heard that? And in order
Every week.
every week. So in order to get more yeses, you have to get more
No's.
no's. Exactly. Well, that makes sense if only 25% of the time we're getting it correct, right? That accounts for the other 75%. But what if there is a way that I could show you how to speak all the different languages so you could start just changing your languaging just a little bit to be heard? Wouldn't it make sense that all of a sudden now you'd be able to communicate, and instead of getting more no's, you would get more yeses?
That would be helpful. That would be.
Exactly. Okay. So let's dive into the different personality types. And like I said, I want you to just, if you're driving, just think about who this person could be. And then if you're not driving and you're writing, then what I want you to do is just write down, I want you to just write down who that person could be for you. So let's start with, we have 4 personality types. The first one, I'm going to hold up a card. So if you're watching on Facebook, you can see. So the first one, you see there's a blue card. Now, blue is a colder color. So think about this person as cooler to approach, right? So, and we like to call this first one blueprint. Well, if you're thinking about blueprints, well, what's a blueprint? It provides the framework, the structure, the system that people have to follow in order to make a house, right? If you don't have a blueprint, it may not stay standing. So if you think these people are very structured, very systematic, they're very, what we would say, if we're using like a box analogy, these are the people that are inside the box, right? They play within the lines. They follow the rules. These people are all about like avoiding risk, and it's really about safety. So for these people, if what we want to be able to do is really understand the way that they're looking at life, and when you know that, now you can speak into what they're listening. So the first one is blue. And when you're meeting this person, generally what you want to do is you want to give them just a firm 1-2 handshake and then be done with it. But you want to dress appropriately. You want to dress down, like stay with whatever's expected, whatever the rules are, whatever the tradition is. You want to follow that tradition and keep everything very professional. The next one we have is what we call actions. I'm holding up this red card, and on each of these cards, there's 12 values on what they value. So this is how they listen and what determines how you get buy-in or how you they make a decision. So these people think action. Action is like red, right? It's got like that fire. Think of RPMs on the car is what one speed. It's full speed, right? You're like maxed out if you're on the RPMs on a car. So you want to think, or we say red, like they're a celebrity in their own mind. Like they like to walk the red carpet, the VIP red carpet, right? So these people love that freedom, flexibility, spontaneity, action. Their energy is always very high. They have a lot of excitement. So these people, we always say, you know, these people, if it comes to a box analogy, these people are firecrackers. They are like on the go. They are powerhouses. You know, these people, you can hear them coming before they get into the room. And usually the party starts when they show up. But these people are amazing. And we always like to say head to toe, it's all for show. So they're all about like that sizzle lifestyle and the dream. So these people are outside the box. So let me just ask you, if you come in really conservative and professional and you have very like calm energy and you meet somebody who's like, oh my God, so excited. Oh my God, I have this great opportunity. Let's go, right? Last minute. This person's going to have to plan. This person's spontaneous last minute. Do you think that that's actually going to be a match or a mismatch? A mismatch. So then the next person we have is the nurturing. This is yellow. Think like yellow, warm like sunshine, sweet like honey, heart of gold. These people are very soft. They have like a really nice tone. They're usually very agreeable. They love relationships, authenticity, personal growth. You see these people, they're usually dressed in something flowy. They're usually the people that are there volunteering. They're the ones that want everyone to feel included. When it comes to a box, we like to say that they're going to recycle the box. Well, not only that, recycling the box is just a little bit of a difference. Usually to make a difference, they'll wrap it with old wrapping paper and turn it into a toy drive or a food drive or some way to make a bigger impact. And then these people, really it comes down to like, if you use a harsh tone with this person, you're going to offend them. You're going to turn them off. So if I have this loud action person coming up with this very soft, nice, just wanting to connect person, you can see how that's not going to be a match. And then the last one we have, and these people, the nurturing are the people that are going to want to greet you with a hug, right? They're just going to want to connect and hug. Last, we have the green. The green is knowledge. If you think of like the matrix, that code coming down in the matrix that was all green, or like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, their logo's green. It's all about housing all that data. These people are data, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They love information, right? These people are all about learning, intelligence, logic. They're driven by reason, right? They're all about expertise. If they know something, they're going to apply themselves to become the best at it. So these are people that tend to excel. Also, these people are all about the big picture. They want to know, one, are you an expert? And two, do you know what you're talking about? What's the big picture? So with the box analogy, we like to say they're the ones engineering the box, right? They're the designers. They're the ones that are making life happen. And so these people, they really want you to just be smart, to know your information. If you're trying to fake it, it's not going to go well for you. These people, and oftentimes these people, what you're saying has to make sense, right? So these people, now imagine, think about, who do you know as that person that follows the rules, that's always planning, that's always like in advance. Or like always planning. They're early. If you ever go to meet them, they're early for an appointment. Who do you know that's like that blueprint personality in your life? So I want you to think, who could that be? That person that follows the rules, who's always planning, structured. Think about the person that's action, super high energy, always excited, always has an opportunity, like super dynamic, like that really, really excited, high energy, always like every time you talk to them, they have like some really cool thing going on. And also the nurturer. Who's that nurturer person in your life? That's like the person you're going to call to volunteer or to help you, or usually they're the person that everyone talks to like, have an ear to listen to. And then the knowledge person, right? This person's amazing, right? They're the people that are like the web of information. They're the ones that like have distilled all the information and know the false from the accurate. They're brilliant. So I want you to think about writing a name down for each one of those people. And we are going to be heading into commercial. I have a very special guest coming up when we get back from commercial. So make sure to stay tuned, because I'm going to show you how to use this to make a bigger impact in your life and in your business.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiana with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Clarity Corner with Christiana. Very excited to share with you my upcoming guest. We are talking all about communication. How do you use communication to grow and scale your business? I have a very special guest. Her name is Martha. And Martha, you're going to have to correct me if I get this wrong, but Krejci. She's a high vibing mama, wife, business coach, and growth strategist. And she's a social media, oh my goodness, I just lost my thing here. Social media marketing powerhouse who has taken the internet by storm. She's been featured in Fox, ABS, CBS News, Oprah Magazine, Fast Company, Cosmopolitan, Shape, Huffington Post. You can probably already guess her personality type as I'm giving you all those. She's an intuitive marketing expertise and has helped her intuitive marketing expertise has helped her change the trajectory of her family's life in less than a year using a strategy she teaches. I'm going to keep that on the back burner so you can share that giveaway with them. And please welcome Martha. Martha, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me. You pronounced my name fantastically, by the way.
Excellent. I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my God.
Deer in headlights. Oh my God.
I know. I'm like, wait, that's research. I don't do that first. So Martha, I actually met Martha. Martha is this amazing powerhouse. She does not do anything. She's always a full RPM, right? Total. What's your personality code? Just so they can know.
Yeah, it's ANKB. So I'm action followed by nurture. They're almost equal. And then KB.
So knowledge and then blueprint. And okay, so I was so taken with you. My goodness. I mean, you have already created this incredibly successful business. And when you were sharing how you started incorporating, we use this technology called Bank. It's those 4 cards. And you can crack your code. If you want to get a free personality report, you can go to my website. It's crackmycode.com/clarity. And again, it's crackmycode.com/clarity. But Martha, I was just so taken. So how did you come or how did you find out about this personality system Bank?
Yeah, well, I think we're always so excited to hear about different personality things like, Facebook quizzes of what kind of cheese am I and all sorts of stuff like where we just geek out on learning more about ourselves. But whenever it comes to Bank, I was introduced from a friend of mine, Courtney Epps. And she introduced me to Sherry and Esther, and then I had them on one of my masterminds. Mm-hmm. And then because I'm an A and I'm very much like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. But then I started thinking about something else and then, bright, shiny object somewhere else. And then that had my attention. I got away from it. And that was just late last year. And so they came to Florida because I'm in Orlando. They came to Florida a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago.
Yes.
And they were literally within like a mile of where I live. And so we hung out for a little while, went on a very long walk together, and we're talking about each other's businesses. And man, I just realized how much it all jived together. It made sense. And to me, it really closes the loop for people. So I help people grow businesses, right? And a problem that people have whenever they're growing their business is they'll look at me and they'll be like, okay, well, my own success originally has come from, being good at sales and being good at reading the room and things like that. And that's not duplicatable. It's just simply not, right?
Right.
But what this does is close the loop for those people because it makes it duplicatable. Now they can communicate with people the way I communicate with people because I'm just reading them kind of the way that bank is set up, right?
Mhm.
And so whenever they learn this, all of a sudden I have taught them, I've already taught them all of the strategies of how to grow their business and things like that. But now they can add in actually being able to communicate well with people, and it closes the loop on people being able to have successful business. In my opinion, this is game over on people not being successful in business. There's no reason not to be anymore.
Well, one of the biggest things, I come from 20 years of clarity work and organizing people's minds and mapping out what their ideas are. And the biggest gap that I saw, why I came to bank, is because I could give them all the tools. They had all the right steps, they had all the right information, right? They would get excited. But if you don't know how to speak to the person in front of you and really only give them what they want, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how many, right? I mean, you can invest all this time in training, but if you're falling down on communication, you're just wasting time.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. Totally agree with you.
Yeah. And what I loved about you is you're like, I just don't waste time. So I just want to give them a little bit of background on your business. So I want you to be more specific about your business, if you would. Like, what do you show people how to do?
Yeah. So our focus, I've been a business strategist for a long time, and I've worked with large corporations and heads of industry and that sort of thing. Our focus at this point is very different. Our focus is putting families back together again. And for us to be able to reverse engineer that, the reason for that in the first place is because we see the trajectory that the world is going in. And we see the rise in children taking their lives. We see the rise in some really scary stuff that's going on in the world, that in our belief, if the parents don't have to go to a 9-to-5 job, 40, 60, 80 hours a week, and they can be home with their families, we believe this trajectory will naturally course correct. We believe that. And so based on that, we're like, okay, well, how are we going to do that? Well, we reverse engineered it into, okay, if we can show mom and dad how to be able to create sustainable and scalable income from home, then that will allow them to be home. And then, we can start working on other family issues at that point. Communication, of course, being one of them, but that's how we get them home. So what we do at this point is we teach people how to create sustainable and scalable income from home. And that's via many different ways, because we show them to create multiple income streams, because many eggs, many baskets take stress away from every single basket that you have. And yeah, so that's what we do.
Well, and I love that too, because you're not trying to force them into one network marketing company or one specific online stream. I actually got, and I would love to just, have you share this. I got your free download, which is how to quit your job without going broke, even if you have no skills. I think that's genius what you did. And as an organizer, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like oftentimes we don't see what we bring to the table. And so that's a beautiful way of doing that. But what you do, because you're not trying to put them in one path, everybody can pick the style that works with their personality type. People that want to be able to just be behind the computer, and people who want more interaction, like they can just kind of customize something for themselves. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. 100%. That's how we want them to do it. It's nothing is so rigid. It's a framework for them to, like once they have what they want to do, they'll see the framework of how to set it all up and how to get the content moving and all of that stuff without ads, because we don't do ads. But everybody injects their own flavor into it, chooses what they want to do. And what we're actually doing, one of the things that we're doing is in weaving bank into what we're doing is everybody that comes into our group, we're going to specifically be reaching out to them, asking them to crack their code so we can see who we're speaking to, and then make a suggestion to them based on their personality style or their personality code, what their first income stream, the best one for them to start with, like just a suggestion.
Oh, I love that.
To get people moving, right? Yeah.
Yeah, oftentimes, because it just depends on your personality style, right? I remember with my clarity business, I organized this woman who was an amazing attorney. I mean, she was doing great, and she got into it, right? Because she wanted something reliable and something sustainable. However, she was a nurturer. She was a people person, and she was stuck behind books and computers for 99% of her time. And she was like, "Oh my God, I can't do this. I have to change my career." I had another guy, I had another guy who I was doing clarity mapping on, and he had a really precise job that's like not known really. And I was like, "How did you get into that?" And he realized at 35, he had only followed friends for his career and had never actually made a decision. He just followed relationships. And at 35, he went, "Wait a second, what do I want to do with my life?" Instead of being led by friendships. He had no idea that that was happening to him until we coded him.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want you to share what's really shifted for you now that you've incorporated bank? Because when you were sharing your story about that, I was so moved, and I really wanted to bring you to my audience because everybody hears it differently. And so you're already successful. So some people are like, "Oh, I'm already successful. I don't really need it." But what have you been able to do once you've integrated it?
Yeah, well, I mean, the minute somebody says I'm already successful, I don't need it, you're no longer successful. So
Exactly. Yeah.
careful whenever you say things like that, right? But what we're doing is we're always okay. So my husband and I always sit, who is a blueprint, by the way. So I'm just saying,
Okay.
perfect. We're a perfect pairing, but we've got some emotional intelligence to make it work. But
Got it.
but we always sit across the table from each other and we say, okay, how do we make people better? How do we make their systems easier? How do we make this whole thing that they're doing in their life, how do we make it easier for them? And how do we, just take the friction off of it, right?
Mhm.
And so what Bank does is it shows them who they actually are. And so whenever we go into group coaching now, I've had everybody crack their own codes that are in my program.
Mhm.
And so whenever we go into group coaching, I can see their code next to their name.
Mhm.
And so whenever I talk to them, I can see, I know who I'm talking to. And so I know what matters to them. So in specific, last night, I had a group coaching with one of my groups. And a girl was talking about, course creation. And she was talking about, she did a workshop and she was turning it into an evergreen course. Okay.
Okay.
And the workshop itself didn't have any takers. And she said, but I showed up anyway. And she is a blueprint. Okay.
Mhm.
And so she showed up anyway because rules. And she said she was going to show up, and she showed up regardless of people that were there. Right.
Right.
But what I actually said to her afterward was, I was like, you're a blueprint. You actually maybe are going to be better served pre-recording your courses instead of doing workshops. You're probably going to be better served to actually have a full-on guide in how you're going to do everything, pre-record it. And if you plan on it being evergreen anyway, you're probably going to be best served just in pre-recording and doing that. And just me saying that to her,
Mhm.
she was like, she understood herself on such a deeper level, and she was no longer holding herself to my standards. And because
Wow.
my standards aren't better, I'm just different, right? And so instead of her thinking she has to do it the way Martha does it, now she realizes she can do it the way she does it, and it's perfection for her. And now we've taken the sting off of pretty much business growth altogether, because when we approach every situation and every learning opportunity
Yes.
in a way that we can explain it to all of the different personality codes, then I think you've hit perfection. And so what I'm even doing in one of my signature programs, and I swear I'm going to stop talking, what I'm going to do, you asked me about education, I'm just going to talk. But what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to shut the doors to my program in about a week and a couple days.
Yep.
We've never done that before. We're shutting the doors for the next 3 months. And whenever we come back, we're going to be serving up our content for each dominant personality style. So all of the modules of my program will be based on, okay, so the first module, action style, first module, nurturer style, first module, blueprint style. So I will literally be speaking to them in all of the modules, and it is going to be amazing.
Wow.
I already know it. The blueprints will get their checklist. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Exactly.
it's going to be all, it's just so, I'm so excited about it because I know the success that's going to be on the other side.
Well, and you speak to I mean, are you kidding? I'm geeking out over here because I'm an organizer and I'm always like, right, I'm all clarity coach. And one of the quotes that I've never heard anyone else say it, so it's my quote is, you're only as successful as your content is implementable. Right.
Yeah.
So if I data dump on you, I had a client very similar who started a membership community, and she had all of her content. She's an action knowledge. So she goes really fast and throws a ton of data at people. And they're like, what do I do with all of this? And right. Cause that's what actions do. And it was really powerful because I got her trained up in bank in a one day just to like get her the basics. And what we did in her membership communities, we just taught bank. She said, here's the 4 personality types. Here's how, and she created, because there's action, she created a whole entry point for blueprints, actions, nurtures, and knowledge. And she set up different community groups where all the blueprints could get together so the actions don't talk over them, right? And then the actions could get together so they don't have to deal with all the nurturers talking about their feelings, right? And then it was really powerful because she's like, oh my God, I've never had so much engagement. She goes, and people want to work with me. And now she was dripping people in, but they wouldn't show up. And now they're showing up and they're like, oh my God. And she's coaching them based on their personality type. Like you were saying, like, I hate that mini me syndrome, right? People come up and it's like, I come from 10 years as an assistant trainer in personal development. So I always got people like the crowd riled up to put someone else on stage to sell their product. And you see people walking around like mini me's of them. And I'm like, I get it. And that's what you were saying. Like when you set that girl free not to be you, it's like people try to duplicate, but it's not authentic to who they are, or maybe just 25%. So to have that, oh my God, it was so exciting. So I'm really excited about what you're doing. So what would you say is the biggest takeaway in your personal relationship, given that your husband's very in the box and you don't really have one? How has your relationship shifted since you learned bank?
Oh my word. Well, so there's my relationship with my husband and there's my relationship with my daughter, right? So
Wow.
7-year-old as well. My relationship with my husband, I no longer feel like he's just testing me. There are times where he literally needs to know things. He's a blueprint. So he needs to know what my day is going to be like, regardless of whether the day is the same exact day every day for us. I mean, it kind of is, you know. Mm-hmm. We wake up and we go to the gym about the same time, and I do a live about the same time every day, and a lot of it is the same. And for Mike, he just needed to know, like literally needed to know what my day looked like, so he knew what his place in it was. And so before, whenever he would ask me what my day looked like, I would like, roll my eyes. Let me go grab my calendar and explain my day to you, And now I realize that it wasn't because he was just trying to be annoying. It was because he needed to know where he fit in that day. And that was a blueprint thing for him. So now realizing that he needs that, it's so much, I don't give him the pushback. I don't give him the eye roll and all of that stuff. Like I literally just give it to him, what the data that he's looking for. But whenever it came to my daughter,
oh wait, hold on 1 second. I want to pause on that for just 1 second, because you just gave me a massive aha for my husband, because he's a action knowledge blueprint nurturer. And whatever your third code is how you show up under stress. And you just cracked the code for my husband, because he'll say, honey, what's your day? Like he can't move forward unless he knows my day, because then he can free flow through his day as an action. But I would always be like, what? Like, and I didn't understand because he's in action. But he's under stress and he needs to know my day. And if I don't tell him, he can't start.
Yes.
He's listening and he's like, thank God she finally gets it. I teach this, right? What I love about this is you're constantly learning. But you just totally broke my husband down. When he's under stress, he's blueprint. And that's why he's asking and he can't move forward. I'm like, oh my God. So honey, I heard her. wow, it's going to be different going forward. And we have to take a quick break for our sponsors, but we'll be right back. And I would love for you to be able to share your free giveaway if you'd be willing to after the break.
Sure.
Okay, we'll head back. We'll be right back.
This is the Tan Talk Radio Network.
A few years ago, my skin was a mess. It was dry, lifeless, and aging fast. My busy travel schedule teaching yoga across the world was really catching up on me. I tried everything I could find, and it just got worse. So I created my own product based on 100% natural ingredients, and what a difference. Now my skin is glowing and radiant, and I look and feel 10 years younger. The serum I used is called F3. It's our best seller, and I've created a whole range of products to suit all skin types. So if you want actual results using 100% natural skincare, visit formulaflawless.com.
Are you hoping to grow your business but not sure how? Has your business flattened out? It may be your messaging. This is Maureen Famiana with MEF Media. I've been in the TV broadcasting business for more than 30 years, and I enjoy helping businesses and entrepreneurs go to the next level. It's about strategy and branding, finding the right story to tell, and then getting media exposure. I'm here to help you grow your business. Find me on Facebook or my website at MEF Media, and let's launch your next chapter today.
Don't turn it off now. You need this stuff. Tampa Bay's Tan Talk Radio Network.
Welcome back to Clarity Corner. I'm so excited. I have Martha with me today, and she is just about right before she was sharing how Bank and the personality science has transformed her relationship with her husband. And I got a massive aha about my husband. But guys, if you have any questions or you want to call in, call 727-441-3000. Again, call 727-441-3000. You're welcome to call in and ask questions. We're both here to help you. But Martha, so you were saying, how has this changed your relationship with your 7-year-old daughter?
Oh my gosh. So I had her, people don't know this yet, but there are cards that don't, that have pictures on them for kids.
Yes.
And so you can help break the code or crack the code of children, like as young as, you know, I mean, I've heard of 3-year-olds doing it successfully, where it stayed the same code as they got older. But whenever she cracked her code, let me talk about this first. Whenever I started thinking about her cracking her code, when I was in San Diego at a Codebreaker Summit, and then I had to come back home to actually do it. But as I was sitting there and we were going through the relationship one, and we were going through the different codes and how they behave with each other and such, I kept seeing her in some different codes. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I a terrible mom? Because I can see blueprint in her.
Mm-hmm.
She also needs to know what's going on. And so she needs to know what time things are happening. And for me as an A, I'm like, I don't know, it's happening in a half hour or something. And she's like, no, I need to know what time it's happening. And again, I don't know what this whole schedule thing is. For an A, guys, if you're listening, schedules are like out the window. All right. Like, don't talk time with us. But
it's so true.
My whole family needs, right? My whole family needs to know what time everything happens. And I'm like, I don't know. But she literally needed to know time on things. And so I was like, oh my gosh, is she a baby blueprint? Am I like mothering a baby blueprint as myself? Because if you're not careful, you're going to raise your kids as your own dominant trait because it's all that you know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing to her, right? And then I got home and she cracked the code for herself. And turns out she is identical to me. We are exactly the same. It's just her blueprint shows up in an interesting way. But actually, her blueprint is last, so it's the same as mine. I'm not sure what's showing up there. But yeah, so what I realized is that she's exactly like me. And so now I get to treat her as such. And I told her that. And the moment that I told her that her and I were the same code, man, I am telling you right now, Christiana, she was like, she started glowing.
Oh my God.
Like, we just got to have this like moment where, you know, a little girl wants to have a good relationship with their mom. Like it's a natural thing. And we got to share that we're like exactly the same. And so it's almost like we're this secret club now of people that are just like this. And so now I know for certain that when I do some A stuff, she's with me. I know for certain when I do some N stuff, she's with me. I also know for certain whenever she goes into her K,
Yes.
when she needs to know things specifically, which that could be the time also, that she's going into like a little bit of a distressed part of her day for whatever reason. There's some stress in there. And so she's going into a K for that, like needing the data, needing information. And so to be able to know these things about people is so interesting because you can see them going into stress. So then you can recognize that. It's freaking monumental.
I love this. And so you said a couple things. So I want to break a couple things down to the listeners because you're saying things that we know, but they don't know. So
Yeah.
you could see all codes in her. Well, we are all 4 codes. It's just the order. So I like to say, think of them like doorways, right? So for action, if I'm high energy, right, you and I get along because it's like, I'm a nurturing action, but I'm really high on both. So, right, I could go in and out and I was trained in personal development to be action. So I've been a trained action in that world, right? So I can like get there and get excited and go blah, 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 blah really fast. So I have to remember on the radio to slow down. and then the other thing is, it's just think of them as doorways. So once you open that door, then you can get to the next one, then you can get to the next one. But if you try to jump ahead, you're going to break rapport. And so that's really important. The other thing that you were talking about is you were at a training. So we have training. CBS is a Codebreaker Summit. So think of it just like a day long to go deep dive into like with 3 different ones. We have 3 different ways you could deep dive in the information. That way you can maximize the information, then get out in the world and do it. So, but I just wanted to bring that full circle. But we were on a call together, actually, you and I today, and there was a story I heard, and I want to share this with my listeners because it was so powerful. Because you said we parent who we are unless we know better, and then we parent our child as they are. And our friend Jeannie was sharing that her daughter-in-law is a very knowledge-based. So she is very logical. Her whole life is driven by reason, right? Everything has to make sense, follow a system, right? And so she had a baby and she said, I have to write it. I made notes. I was laughing so hard when she was saying this. It was crazy. She said, hold on, I'm right here. Where is it? Okay, here I am. She said, I don't understand. Her daughter-in-law said, I don't understand. This isn't logical. It just doesn't make any sense. And she turned to her, she said, honey, it's a baby. It's not supposed to make sense. And then somebody else who was very high knowledge said, this is the closest you're going to get to a manual on how to, right, on how to handle people, because they're going to tell you their manual when you do these 4 cards. It's really simple. So if you do want to find out your personality, go to crackmycode.com/clarity, CLARITY. So crackmycode.com/clarity. And then we also say crack my code because we like to have fun because everything's so serious. If we can have a little bit more fun in the world, that's easier. So that's what we're talking about when we say crack my code. It's just, who are you? You have to know who you are first. Then you understand how you fit with others. So, but Martha, that was hilarious. I could not stop laughing when she was talking about that. But it's like, I love that you and your daughter now understand. So now you can craft things specific for the actions and then not torture the rest of your family to participate in them.
Exactly. And I just think that there's something really special about knowing whenever a close friend or a family member is going into distress.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in the world that we live in, there's a lot of people that try to fake a lot because they don't want to be seen as less than or weak or whatever. But if we can see what they're doing and we see them going into distress,
yes,
we can meet them there. And we're able to help at that point. And they don't have to say a word to us about it. We can just recognize it. And I think that that's probably one of the most beautiful things about Bank is to be able to see somebody go into distress and be able to recognize it.
Well, and have the tools to get them out of it before they even realize they're in it, right? We can see it happening and then we can shift it. The other thing I want to share with you, because, there's also a lot of local business owners that are listening. What I would love you to share is why you're so passionate about bringing this to businesses and what is the scalable potential that you see bringing this into your business?
Oh my gosh.
And just so you know, we have 6 minutes left.
Okay.
Just tell you in
good
advance.
call. Yeah. Tell the action.
Yeah.
Tell the action. Okay. Words, but not so many words. So the ability to apply this into business
Mhm.
is ridiculous. So I am currently talking to owners of massive organizations that are bringing it in. There are, and we can't say the names of these companies that have already adopted it into their programs, but here's just to give you some boots on the ground. Here's functionally how it could work in a business. Let's talk about, let's talk real estate. Okay. So in real estate, whenever you have somebody looking for a house, you really are kind of just guessing about what they want. Now, you do have your questionnaire and you're asking them what they want,
Mhm.
you know, how many bedrooms, how many baths, what's important to your family, yada, yada, right? But if you have them crack their code, which everybody will do, don't even think like, oh, well, people won't do this, it's weird. They'll
Mhm.
absolutely do it because they already wanted to know what kind of cheese they were on Facebook, remember? Like this,
Right.
it's literally, people are designed to be curious about themselves. And so whenever you tell them, okay, we're going to crack your code, this is going to be able to allow me to actually do a better job for you. Okay. And whenever you crack their code, now you know things that they're not even telling you about what's important to them and how to speak to them. So from a real estate aspect, you're able to, you'll know if the contracts are more important to them. You're going to know if it's the comfiness of the neighborhood and the quietness, or if it's around nature, you're going to know if that matters to them. There's just a lot of things whenever you get into it that
Mhm.
you're going to realize. Now, here's where it really gets insane is onboarding. Okay. So the onboarding capacity for growth with bank is stupid. So, there's two different things I want to say here, and I understand time.
Nope,
But,
go ahead. I'll just chime in if we get close, but go ahead.
Okay, sounds good. So from an onboarding perspective, as you're bringing in employees, or if you're a business that has, you know, levels underneath you, as you're bringing people in, you find out who they are.
Mhm.
And then you run them through, just like what Christiana was talking about earlier, you run them through a different pathway based on their code, right?
Mhm.
Their dominant code.
Yep.
And then that is going to lower attrition. So if you're a business owner, you're wanting to lower your swiveling door, right? Your the door that doesn't stop swinging around
Right.
of people coming in and going out and coming in and going out and all of that money that goes along with it. You are going to lower attrition just simply by speaking to the human being who's in front of you instead of just doing this blanket training. Okay. And so that is, from an onboarding experience, amazing. Now let's talk a CRM experience. So no matter what business you are, every single person has a CRM, or should. If you don't, oh my gosh, I'm crossing my fingers for you. Please get a CRM.
And that's a
is
contact,
basically-
that's a database contact relationship
Yep.
management system. Okay, good.
Yep, that's what I was going to tell you. It's like a digital Rolodex.
Mhm.
Okay. And so it's where you keep your customers' information. But whenever you have your customers crack their code, and they don't always have to, here's the cool thing is there's AI involved.
AI is artificial intelligence.
Thank you. And so what you can do is any messages that they send you, you can go to their LinkedIn page if you want, and there's a tool that decodes who they are, you know, their personality.
Yep.
If you just go to their LinkedIn page, but there's also an AI thing where you can copy and paste messages that they've sent you, and you can put it in there and see what their code is based on that. But you guys, if you know who your customers are, the segmentation potential of that is insane. So segmentation is how you really do well in like email marketing and SMS, which is text marketing.
Right.
You can message just your blueprints, a message for blueprints. That same message can be translated into action and sent just to the action, and you've segmented your whole list based on personality style.
Yep.
Your your sales are going to blow through the roof just simply with that. And I know we don't have any more time for me to geek out.
Absolutely. No. And you speak the truth. It's amazing when you actually know how to speak to somebody, it like blows up. I have been going through, and on my show, we've been talking about, I've been going through like dealing with assisted living facilities and care and caregiving. And I brought it to a caregiving company, and she's very interested in implementing it, because imagine it's like, if you're in that caregiving business, yeah, you have your patient, but then you have every family member and they all want information differently and they're looking for different information. And how can you like reduce your capacity for miscommunications by just giving them only the information that they need? It's transformative. And back to just recapping back on the real estate, we have a friend, Joe, who was a guest on my show, Joe Kavanaugh, and he was able to keep his revenue the exact same and only spend 20% of his time generating the same revenue. So imagine that. What if you can keep your revenue the same that you had this year, but do it in 20% of the time? How would your life change? That's what so he essentially was one of the top producers in real estate doing it part-time. Brilliant. I mean, what's possible with this stuff? It's crazy. So we have like 30 seconds. So what would you say? I want you to be able to give away a free thing so people can connect with you. And I love the How to Quit. I don't know if you can give that away, but just a way for people to get more information with who you are and what you're doing. Please go ahead and just give them that quickly in 30 seconds.
Sure thing. So my website is withmartha.com. We won't make you put all those consonants in there. So withmartha.com is my hub for anything.
Okay.
We have a Facebook group called Families Creating Legacies. In the Families Creating Legacies, there's not only the freebie or the guide that she was talking about just now, but there's many others as well. So that would be where I would hop into, or just message me off the Facebook or off the website if you want to.
Absolutely. Martha is incredibly dynamic. She's brilliant. Martha, oh my God, thank you so much for bringing so much value. I was like taking notes like crazy. And I swear every time I talk to you, I learned so much. And then guys, make sure to check out Clarity Corner with Christiana every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and share it. Go share it with a friend. I mean, this is a way that you can listen to this show together and then, oh my God, bridge the gap. Remember this action this week. Go check out Martha. It's withmartha.com. Is that correct?
That's right.
Withmartha.com, and crack your code at crackmycode.com/clarity. We will see you next week as we start to plan the month to make sure you stay on track to achieve your goals. Thank you so much.
WTAN Clearwater,
FM 106.1,
WDCF Dade City,
FM 102.3,
WZHR Zephyr Hills.